Welcome everyone to the Impact Show. Today is August 31st, 2017, and this is episode 17. Now, if you're a regular follower of the Impact Show, you know we do this live on Facebook every week. And sometimes when you do things live, things happen. Like this week, the first 3 minutes of the audio of the broadcast were completely cut out and missed for whatever reason. We picked it up, but what I decided to do this morning was re-record the first 3 minutes of the episode so you guys can pick it back up and know where we are. So this is our replacement part of the episode. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about augmented reality. We're going to be talking about video versus text content and should you be pivoting from text to video? We'll be answering that question. And we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why your inbound marketing may be failing. I'm Bob, and I do the show with Nick. You'll hear Nick in a little bit when we pick him back up. Everything we do on the Impact Show is to help those marketing leaders, those people who are charged with growing their organizations from something small to something big. We're here to help them overcome common obstacles and create breakthroughs. This show is always broadcasted live on Facebook and then repurposed on iTunes, the Impact blog, and YouTube. So one thing we did in the beginning of the episode that I want to make sure we do again is we want to share our thoughts and prayers with the people of Houston, now the people of Louisiana, and with the people also affected by a storm in southern Florida. A few members of our team and our family and some members of our extended family have been affected by this. So we want to let Bree and Britt know that we are thinking about you guys. And a member of our extended family, John McTeague, want you to know that we're also thinking about you. Thoughts and prayers, much love from the Impact team. So where we're going to pick it back up, where things were cut off, was we were talking about digital marketing news, and that's usually our first segment where Nick and I will go through our news feeds and we'll pick out one thing that really catches our eye and we share every week. So where I started was I was talking about augmented reality. And I started with the explanation of what augmented reality is. So we're going to pick it back up where I am describing what augmented reality is. And I'm going to start with a description of how it's like Snapchat filters. That's really the best way to think about it, where you have the video in the background and then there are things happening in front of the screen, whether it be a filter or something in front, 3D as you move, Pokemon Go style. That's basically what augmented reality is. We're going to pick up the episode right there. Basically what your Snapchat filters will do, right? You have the video in the background. You can move the video, and there's a layer that's typically over it. It could be bunny ears in Snapchat. It could be a picture of something, and it stays 360 as you move your camera. It looks like it's really there. That's augmented reality, to simplify that. One of the biggest phenomenons that happened with augmented reality over happened last summer. One of the biggest things last summer was that Pokemon Go.
Oh yes.
Did you play that?
I didn't, but I have several of my siblings and stuff. It sounded awesome. I mean, I saw people on the T in Boston playing it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I never played it, but from my understand,
we're not like down on it.
No, we're not down on it.
I think it's great. I have other things I waste my time on.
I think I'm past that age where it's like Pokemon. I kind of miss that.
Yeah. I'm not past like other apps and other stuff. Don't get me wrong. It was just that game. I was like, people are already all over it.
If it was Ghostbuster Go, I'd probably be all over it.
That's your persona. You got them right.
Wow, that's $1 million idea. End the episode right here. We're going to work on Ghostbuster Go.
This is all copyright here. Yeah.
If you guys are watching this right now, hashtag Ghostbuster Go.
Yes.
Make this a reality where we can catch Slimer and stuff.
The movement starts today.
But that's what augmented reality is. That's an example of a game using augmented reality, right? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to just be for games. We could use this in a marketing purpose. So one of the things that I pulled out of the article is a really good line. Imagine billboards and advertisements that exist purely in the virtual world and offer exclusive deals and promotions to AR users. Let that sink in. So lives in the virtual world. So you're holding up your phone, you're going around, and maybe there's little pop-up bubbles like coupon for this store. And you move it around, and there's a little discount over here, or you're in the grocery store and you're going over, and it's like, you're at Stop and Shop and you go over the eggplant and it's like eggplant on sale, 49 cents a pound. I don't know how much that plant costs.
Yeah.
But you go over like the fruity pebbles, and there's something there that pops up on your phone. So that would be kind of an example of advertisements, deals, and promotions happening in a very digital world.
Now, I hope as people are listening to this, I know how sometimes my brain works. It's filtering, going, do I need to care about this? Do I need to care about this yet? And I think those are the same questions we all were asking ourselves about, first of all, social media marketing. And that was like 5 or 6 years ago. Like, do I really need to care? Same thing with video. And now it's virtual and augmented reality. It's going to be here before we know it. So I know that some of this sounds like a little bit space age, like I'm not a grocery chain or something like that. Start using your imagination now. These tools are coming now. Like it's important for us to keep our eyes on this thing.
So apparently in the live feed, our audio had cut out in the beginning. So guys, we apologize for being a little late. We had a little technical difficulties. We're trying a few different things today. Obviously we're in person, but we have a couple of cool things we think are going to be awesome today. Where did the audio cut out and where did it start working? Let's see. There's
maybe our live audience can help us figure that out too.
Yeah. So maybe if anyone could say where the audio started picking up, that'd be awesome. We'd really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah. What was the last thing you heard us talking about, or the first thing anyway?
That sounds good. We're waiting for that. While that continues, we're talking about augmented reality. We're talking about Facebook making an investment, Apple's making an investment as well. So yes, we're talking about
stay on it. I mean,
this is real. This is happening. And as we're looking at these companies, Apple, for example, making a big investment, probably more geared towards maps of some sort.
Yes.
Because they just made a big investment in hiring mapping experts and engineers, which is assumed for AR.
Good for them, because they had a bit of a stumble when they did maps in the early days, right? So let's hope they're like, here's a chance for us to reset the record here. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, okay. So Jorge said it was about 3 minutes that we missed. So hopefully you guys caught the whole part about augmented reality. Cool. Also, Facebook, Zuckerberg made a huge announcement at the Facebook F8 conference, and they're confirmed their company's commitment to AR. So that's a big deal. So what does this mean for marketers, right? As we look at this, and what are people starting to do? What are companies starting to do? What's already out there? And there's really 2 things I think marketers should be thinking about. And that's what I'm picking up from all of this. One, consider, is there an opportunity for you to create an AR experience for your audience, for your buyers?
Yeah.
Do you create your own experience? Or 2, how can you integrate your brand into an AR experience that someone's already created? Can you be those little pop-up bubbles that come up
in somebody else's mapping app or something like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, between those 2 options, there's got to be something you can leverage.
That's right. So Christine is behind the camera saying she's controlling things. I have a few videos. This is some of the technical stuff that we're trying to integrate today. But Christine, can you click over to the first video? Cool. So this is IKEA, and go ahead, Christine, hit play. We don't have sound here, but we're going to talk right over this. I thought IKEA is doing some really cool stuff. So here's an example of augmented reality. Beautiful family. Maybe grandma's going to buy some furniture for them. Boom. Look at this. Putting a table right in front of the family so we could see what that table would look like inside of our home.
And this is great because now you're thinking about outside of your store or where you do business. You brought up the eggplant example in the grocery store. This is at home, people in their smartphones, envisioning your product, if it's a physical thing,
That's right.
in its environment. Any manufacturer of a physical item.
Now look what they're about to do. This gets a little fun here because now they're having some fun with the app. Look how goofy they're being. Like, look at this right here. So here's another part. Now they're inside the IKEA experience, playing with this, having fun,
right? Experiencing the brand. And I could see some people saying, well, what if people use it incorrectly or misinterpret it? We don't want to look foolish. Like, this is embracing it, embracing the imagination of people.
It's creative, it's fun, it's strengthening the brand.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not easy to do this. This is a major corporation designing this one piece, but as you just said, Bob, there's platforms popping up. Like, it could very well be that IKEA contracted with another organization that knows how to do this and is doing this for other companies.
That's right. All right, so that's IKEA. Now this one
was cool. I think that was worth it.
That was right.
I like that.
So here's another really cool brand. So watches. So we think before you hit play, pause. before we talk about this, think about the way people buy watches, right? every time unless it's like an Apple Watch, like I have to have it, I'm going online.
Mm-hmm.
It's an experience buy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You want to touch it. You want to feel it. How is this going to look on my wrist?
Oh, yeah.
I want to see the 360 of it.
Mm-hmm. Will look good with my certain outfits that I wear.
That's right. So Christine, you can actually play this and skip ahead a little bit.
And big shout out to Christine, who helped us with our experiment today. She's been a real good sport.
So this is showing that on the paper, it could center the watch, but you can go a little bit further because what's really cool, it's more than halfway across. Keep going a little bit further, right about here. And what they're going to do now is they're going to take this paper, they put it on the wrist, and boom, there's a watch. How cool is that?
It's extremely interactive and novel. It's definitely going to be an attention grabber, and I'm definitely going to be talking about this to friends of mine and stuff like that.
I like that watch, but what do other watches look like? Can they show me what other watches might look like on my wrist? This is even faster than going to a store and trying different watches on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can pause that. I thought in the video that they showed other examples. I guess maybe not. But you can click on different watches, and you can have different watches appear on your wrist. That's just really, really cool.
Very cool.
So that's an example of creating an AR experience for your audience.
And because it's earlier innings now, the people who can lead now with this medium will reap the biggest benefits.
That's right.
That's the thing. I mean, so many of our clients and prospects today say a major goal of theirs is to be thought leaders. Well, if you want to be leaders in the minds of the people you're trying to target, and yet you're going to wait and be an also ran, a follower of a way to communicate and reach your audience, interact with them, can't have both.
Yeah.
If you want to be a leader, you're going to have to be bold and do some complicated, risky thinking as to how to leverage this medium right now. But it's a huge opportunity right out in front of us.
So, Christine, if we can go to the next video I have here. Yes, I have two more for you. So this is augmented reality digital placement. So we hit play. This is neat. So this is a company called Blipper. And basically what you do is they'll have the banner ads. I think these are standard banner ads that can be on Facebook or AdWords. So Christine, pause for a second, go back to that this one's going pretty fast. So basically you click on the banner ad, and what will happen is your phone will then ask for access to your camera. And you give it access to your camera, and what will happen is you hit play, pause right here, and look what's happening. So on the left-hand side, they're showing the hand using the phone. On the right-hand side, they're showing what you're seeing on the phone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's putting a car in front of you as if you're sitting in the driver's seat of the car. And then what you're doing is you're going through, and what the windshield is changing to what you're looking at, and the car is 3D, and you get the different angle. It's giving you an experience of what it's like to sit inside that car.
Mm-hmm. So my challenge to the audience here would be, we've seen some examples in these videos, folks, of if you make or sell something physical, there's just some great examples. Can you folks already think of how, if you sell a knowledge product or you provide a service, how you might use this? I'd be interested in hearing people how they could brainstorm on that.
So for what I'm understanding, this is a tool that will help you create that. Blipper will power the ability to go from a banner ad to enter into a access your camera, so you can do a virtual reality.
So even just doing the ad, you know, like creating an ad experience. There's a firm that's got a platform. They want to teach you how to do it. You know, they would love to be able to sell you that. So if you're saying, well, I think it's a great idea, how would I do it? There's people who are motivated to help you figure out how to do it.
And let's go really basic now. So we said you create your own augmented reality experience, or you can enter someone else's. So we'll get one more video for you. And what you're going to see here is Blipper again. This is their original app. This has actually been around for a while. This is not even new. Mm-hmm. I think they got known for this in 2011 for this app. Mm-hmm. New to me, and maybe new to a lot of our audience. Mm-hmm. So if we hit play, what you're going to see here is as they take the camera out and they aim it at certain things, they'll capture a picture of it and start giving you all the information about what it's capturing. So there's a picture of a dog, and it's going to tell you that's a French bulldog. So that's giving you a little bit more context as it goes through. There's pizza, and this is where maybe your brand needs to be. So it takes the picture, and here's a bunch of pizza places that are nearby. Here's a picture of a guitar, and here's a bunch of information about guitar, and maybe guitar shops that are local. Starbucks, Hey, but your Starbucks cup. Let's find some local Starbucks or more information about the company, maybe nutrition facts, things like that. Neat stuff.
Well, I'm just spitballing here, but like if you're thinking, well, great, once again, great for them because these are physical objects. I provide a knowledge service or something that's a little bit less tangible. I'd imagine if this device can identify physical objects with shading and depth and things like that, it could identify numbers on a spreadsheet, couldn't it? It could identify, discrete lines of text and things like that. So if you deal in knowledge and data and analyzing things and planning things, I still think you could pull this off and have it capture and recognize certain data and information, non-confidential, of course, and then help make suggestions. Maybe it's a new grader.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's great. I mean, we're a marketing company. We provide agency services. We also provide a lot of education and content. Maybe what we can do is create an augmented.
I know. Now the wheels are turning.
Yeah. That someone's sitting on their couch, and maybe they can point to around the room, and then you and I are always in the room somewhere doing the Impact Show.
Yes.
And we're talking. You can listen to the Impact Show, and we're like just all over your room.
I had a more legitimate idea than that, but I like that better. I think we should scrap what I'm doing, and definitely that's where we need to pour our resources.
All right. So on the comments, let us know. Should we build that app? We'd love to know.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So that was what came across my news feed. Nick, what's going across yours?
As per usual, Bob, almost without us planning it, it's just so poetic how my article I'm keeping an eye on juxtaposes with what you're doing. So I'm not going to give you folks any video, but this is so meta because my article is about why the pivot to video is so misguided. So I'm going to be practicing what I'm about to preach with this article here, which we got from HubSpot. And there's no video involved in my little segment here because you need to rethink about the overemphasis sometimes on video that's happening right now out there in the market. So once again, like I said, this is an article from the HubSpot marketing blog. Great group of folks over there to subscribe to. Check that out. But the article, Why the Pivot to Video is Misguided, it's basically talking about the fact that we all know this, right? People are crazy about video right now in marketing, in content in general. We covered some stories about Facebook TV now coming out and publishers getting on board. So there is this pivot. And what they mean by pivot in this article is when you're in a startup and you pivot, it's cut our original approach. We're going to go in a totally different direction and go focus in a totally different direction. That's what a lot of publishers are doing. They said Sports Illustrated, Fox News, MTV News. They're laying off a lot of people who did the writing, longer form journalism, and so on in favor of bite-sized snippet videos. The types of video content that we're showing is blowing up right now and doing very well on social and things like that. We know that there's stats out there. There's a lot of buzz. But folks, you got to be careful about this because it's also a lesson about augmented reality. It's not to say there's a hot, hip new medium. That means we got to throw out the old playbook and go all in on this new medium in order to succeed. Just like with augmented reality, what they're saying with video is it should just be, you shouldn't pivot. The pivot is the misguided part. To totally trash your writing and your written content, your longer form content. It's to add, you're going to have to add video in. You're going to have to add augmented reality in along with your writing and so on. That's really the better approach to exploit this new medium and this new communication style. So that's really what their main lesson is all about. And they're basically saying the reason why you should believe that is HubSpot has some good research in this article saying that, yes, people want video. There's plenty of survey people saying they're watching more video now. They prefer more video, but they prefer the written news content, the informational content just as much. So sorry, it just means we have to work harder and give them video plus what they liked before, because they have some great tweets in here and stuff like that too. People reacting to this video pivot saying, I can't watch this video quietly while I'm sitting on the toilet at work. There are reasons, weird reasons sometimes why people don't want to watch a video. I can read faster than you can talk. Those types of things are good reasons to not abandon the written word. And they have some great research here to back it up. Second reason they said is videos are hard to make, at least the good ones that people are going to watch. And there's been a lot of crap put out there on the internet.
But if video is too hard for you to make it, you should consider one of these awesome workshops by the Sales Line.
Straight up.
So if you're struggling making video, they will make it really easy for you. Well, but for most people, it is a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I would say inbound marketing is hard too. If you're not following some basic principles. So I think to your point, Bob, everybody, all of us can and should be supplying video to our consumers to explain complicated processes in a simple way, to humanize our brand, maybe to entertain them a little bit. All those things still apply. But what they're saying is a lot of folks are saying, okay, so long as it is in a video format, I'm doing video. Yeah. And I'm embracing this channel, when really they're just doing slideshows with music in the background that run really slowly, or they're talking out something that would have been better off written.
Yes.
And that's why I like, Bob, that we keep trying to raise the bar here, what we're doing visually on the show, what we're doing audibly on the show.
So even if that means we're 10 minutes late and our audio doesn't work for the first 3 minutes.
You see what I'm doing?
We're trying things.
Yeah. So we're trying to continually level up and earn your attention on a medium like this, instead of, why didn't they just write this down in like an essay or something? So have a real good reason for doing video, because it's pretty hard to do it well if you're just going to be sloppy like that. You don't respect the medium itself. Last point here is videos are still tough to distribute. There's not a great logical place to put them in each and every channel, is kind of what they're saying. And that a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon. People are like, how do I get my video optimized in search engines? Sure, I know partially how to do it in YouTube, but there's even funky things like if you include a colon versus a dash in your YouTube title, that might make a difference in ranking. So it's not properly very well understood what channel to put it on, or multiple channels, and how to get it found easily and consume. And then also how to actually make sure it's still a lead generating asset at the end of the day. Are you using video just as a substitute for a blog post, or is it actually going to be driving a different goal or not? All these reasons are why, yes, video is great, but let's not pivot and drop all the other mediums that people still love and want more of from you. It's just that you're going to have to weave video in and make it more of an augmentation instead of a pivot. That was a big takeaway. So check out the article. It'll be in the show notes.
So let's go to the Facebook feed here. We got a couple of great comments. Ramona backs you up that says that this was a great piece and recommends everybody reads it. It'll be in the show notes.
Really well
so
done.
Make sure you read it.
It's really well formatted too, by the way. I love how it has this progress bar, by the way. You'll see when you look at it, as you scroll through, it kind of goes across the top and shows your progress. Some clever things they're doing.
Andrea Funk has a couple of comments here. One, she thinks that we should be doing an augmented reality version of Impact Live.
Yes.
We can make that happen, right?
Yeah, I think.
How hard could that be?
Right? 2018. Let's put it on there.
Blipper, if you're watching this, Ramona, make sure we tag Blipper in this. If they're watching this, I would love for them to help us do the first business conference using augmented reality. I'm not sure if that's been done yet.
I'm sure it probably has.
It probably has.
First inbound marketing conference in New England.
Yeah, in Connecticut, in Hartford, Connecticut. I know it hasn't happened outside the Valley.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if the folks at Inbound do it. Speaking of Inbound, Bob.
Yeah.
Inbound
well, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
No, we got a couple more things.
Okay.
Well, simmer down now.
All right. I'm just excited about Inbound, apparently.
So Andrea also wants to thank you for sharing that article.
Oh,
I thought that was really good.
No problem, Andrea. I think you know where you can put in some great videos, but it's not, I don't want to see you as video only, girl. Okay.
Stephanie Stevens, this is a really great question. Any suggestion for getting buy-in from people who think that putting people on videos that look cheap compared to polished animated videos? And she goes, So putting people in videos that look cheap. The first thing I thought about, Stephanie, was Gary Vaynerchuk. Watch his first early videos. They were not well lit. They were not well polished. They weren't anywhere near as good as this Impact show. Certainly nowhere near the quality he's doing now. But you got to start somewhere. And they did it, and he built a following. People care more about what you're saying than how you look and how the presentation is.
Yeah,
that's been proven.
Yeah, and Stephanie, you know, but I know that you're asking on behalf of everybody else. You know all these sound bites here, but Wistia, which is a great video software provider, we love those guys, has articles about how you can shoot amazing videos on an iPhone on a limited budget. But also, once again, listen to the article. Don't just be doing video because you want to pivot and exploit the new medium. That's how really terrible videos get made.
Yes.
Say to yourself, is there something that actually I could explain with more feeling, more passion, or just with more visual clarity by providing a video on top of something I'm writing out? Maybe think of it as a supplement. Write a blog article and say, I'm going to add a 30 to 60 second soundbite to kind of say with feeling or enthusiasm or with a little bit more visual clarity this important, rather complex thing I'm trying to drive home in the post. Start there, not like, I made a video, we're on first base here.
Yeah. And I would also say, tell the executives of the business that are not giving approval for this to think about where their business was when they first started it. Were they the super polished, perfect product they are today? Or did they just get going because they had to get going and make money?
Yeah.
And maybe take that same approach to your video marketing that you took to your business to get off the ground.
I think this is all great questions, Bob, for our main topic today about, how your inbound efforts are failing.
I saw a heart go across the screen, so somebody liked that. So
is that the market is changing, consumer preferences are changing. You need to get people's feedback on this type of thing and ask people, would it be helpful if I did a video? We just did a video. I'm super picky. I feel like it's grainy. I feel like the camera shook too much. Did it matter to you? And I'm often very surprised because I know Bob's a perfectionist as well as I am. Like, people are like, no, it was good. That was helpful.
I just saw a bunch more hearts go across the screen. And that's what I love about Facebook Live. Yeah. Thank you guys. That warms my heart.
Just getting us charged up here.
All right. And there they are. They keep going. Thank you guys. Keep them coming. We love it. All right. Before we move forward, I got to do one thing here.
I knew you were going to do it. For those of us who are listening on the audio version, it was just the camera was just a little bit lower than we thought it would be. It's been cutting off Bob's head, and you don't get to see
it's so
much
better.
See that sharp haircut. You know,
I don't have to sit like this anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at that headspace. Great.
Cool. So rock and roll, guys. Here we go. I think we're queued up for this. We may or may not work, but let's go into it. Nick, take it away.
Inbound is coming around the corner, folks. We are just a few short weeks away. Impact is going to be there in force, and we wanted to let you know first what we're up to with this video.
Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you folks at Inbound next month for some in-person throwdowns.
Really killing it out there, champ. You got to go for the SEO next time, the UX.
Listen, you're taking a lot of big hits out there, but you know what? We know what to improve on next time.
So pro. I love that. We just made that.
Hopefully there was audio for that.
Yeah,
I didn't hear the audio on our end, but hopefully there was audio on that end.
Either way, you clearly understood what was going on there. Our creative director, Vin, is going to be down there at Inbound, ready to throw down, to bring the world famous Impact website throwdown right there to Inbound 17 Live.
That's awesome. We're looking forward to it. So we did this last year, and it was a big success. And you guys know how things work here at Impact. When something works, we say, great, how can we make it bigger next year?
Yeah.
So we're making it bigger. We're making it better. We are doing live website throwdowns at our booth in Club Inbound for
special
20 minutes.
Guests coming in.
For 20 minutes, you'll be with one of our team members as you'll get your personal website throwdown, actionable things that you can do better on your site. And then what you can do is when you find out what you need to do on your site, then you go to one of the sessions and you learn how to do it even deeper from somebody else.
Yes. Plan your schedule accordingly based on some of the things we help you identify you might want to focus on. Maybe it's the content. Maybe it's the lack of video or wrong usage of video.
That's right.
Let our feedback help guide you.
You mentioned special guests.
Oh, yeah.
We have a few already scheduled.
We do.
And we know Marcus Sheridan will be there. We know that George B. Thomas will be there.
So pro.
We know Luke Summerfield. I'm sure.
He's a genius.
And I know a bunch of other people that we haven't even announced yet.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned. We're going to have more special guests this year than we had last year. It's going to be like the celebrity booth of digital marketing, of inbound marketing happening at the Impact booth.
Just another takeaway for you folks. If you're going to trade shows, if you're sponsoring trade shows, this is what we're trying to do. How can we make our booth a little bit more interactive and special and more value adding than just a bunch of flyers and ask us a question about the product?
So if you want your website thrown down at Inbound at our booth, all you have to do is go to impactbnd.com/inbound17.
impactbnd.com/inbound17.
Okay. That's it.
I mean, folks,
And
I think it would be
spot.
wise to do that versus waiting for the 17,000 other people are going to show up and see our booth and then sign up on the spot. We obviously have a limited amount of time. We're going to spend 20 minutes focusing on each and every person throughout the day. So if you're a true fan, we'd love to put you guys first, obviously. So please do sign up first and don't have it so you come see us and you go, hey, it's me, Andrea Funk. I love you guys. Like, can we do the throwdown? We're booked solid.
Yeah.
I would hate that. So
that's right.
Please go first.
We have two going at a time. They're staggered. So one starts every 10 minutes.
Love it.
And on that web address that we gave you, impactbnd.com/inbound17, you can register, pick your time spot, and you'll get text notifications when it's time for you to come. So we have all kinds of reminders. Last year we filled up. Sweet. You're absolutely right. Last year we filled up, Nick. Mm-hmm. So if you want to just come up and say, it's in between keynotes and I really want it's probably not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So pre-register now, get one of the perfect time spots for you.
Love it.
So why don't we say we go into our main topic of the day?
I think we've said enough on that point.
Main topic of the day this week is 5 reasons your inbound marketing is failing.
Failing.
Ooh, that
Oh,
one hurts a little bit.
tough. Real talk about to come up right now. Buckle up.
So before we dig in, start thinking about how this might apply to your business. We know if you've listened to every episode of the Impact Show, your inbound marketing is probably not failing because you're definitely in that elite group.
Straight
And
up.
you're probably in Impact Elite in our Facebook group. But there might be things that you still think you could be doing better. And maybe there's parts of your program that are not clicking and you're wondering why. This is obviously not an all-inclusive list.
No.
But this is 5 common reasons that we see over and over again.
Yeah, and we talked about the outline for the segment too,
Yeah.
Bob. I remember we were talking about that. Like we're going to talk about things that you're failing on, but they're also in a good way struggles you have to work through. They're areas where you might be failing at first, but if you can work through these areas, they're also milestones to your success.
That's right.
Conquering each one of these things that we're going to talk about is in fact your milestone success. If you look at anybody who succeeded at inbound, Impact's got plenty of these types of stories. You struggle in these areas first.
Yeah.
You fail in these areas first on your way to success.
That's right. So let's get into the reasons.
Yeah, let's talk.
Reason number 1, you don't understand your buyer. You don't understand how they buy. We just talked a lot about augmented reality and how that's changing the game for a lot of businesses, right? But there's other businesses, there's apps, there's tools, there's things that didn't exist 2 years ago that have disrupted entire industries.
Yes.
There's content that's on the web that wasn't available 2 years ago. There are things we now know it's general information and most people assume is best practices, whatever it is that we know now that we didn't know a few years ago. These things change the way people perceive, the way they understand, the way they research, the way they buy.
And the way they perceive you as a leader for whether you participate in these ways or not.
We think about the way we used to arrange transportation to or from an airport or things like that. There was one way we bought a service like that just 2 years ago.
Waving on the
And
side of the sidewalk.
It's completely changed. My dad, who is like the biggest lagger I know, like he only changes things when he's absolutely forced to.
We love you, Joe.
He used Uber to go to pick up a car they just bought.
Yeah.
For the first time, I installed the app, and so he used Uber for the first time. Think about how that's changed. You know, there's that demographic that held on, and it's like the way I go places. I use taxis. I use public transportation. Now I use Uber.
Yeah.
How that's changed things.
I mean, speaking of which, we were talking before the show. I went and bought ice cream last night from my favorite ice cream place in Braintree, and the owner is like a famous guy in town. He's 70 years old, and he said, we have this new flavor banana. It was the top voted flavor on our Facebook page. Now, I'm sure this guy, Vinny, wasn't native to Facebook, but he understood from his staff and from his consumers and probably studying the market a little bit that this is where things are going. Yeah. So it touches every business from the smallest and simplest and the most hand-to-hand retail to super sophisticated.
That's right. Yeah, and we talked about Airbnb, completely disrupting the hotel industry. Are there companies that are immune to this? And you think, okay, HubSpot is new, it's hot, it's inbound marketing software. They're being disrupted all the time. And they have to constantly understand their buyer in different ways because the way people buy software, marketing software 2 years ago is different than the way they buy it now. Because they have so many different tools that are available to them.
Yep. It doesn't even have to be digital, folks. I got a letter from my doctor who's leaving the medical group I was a part of, and he's doing now direct healthcare without insurance. You just pay him a standard fee and so on. I haven't wrapped my head around it fully, but I said, man, this has nothing to do with Facebook, social media, or trends. Yeah. Businesses are evolving. That's what it takes to succeed in these economies, and they got to keep up with consumer trends. You got to get there first.
And going back to augmented reality, how about the way people buy watches? Completely changes, right? Like the way people might buy watches in this digital world with their smartphones is different now because of the iWatch or Apple Watch, whatever it's called. Because the Apple Watch, it's different because of augmented reality. It's different for a million different reasons. And same thing as we saw with furniture. If you're a furniture store, the way people bought, it's going to drastically change when people are experiencing apps like what IKEA and Home Depot have.
It's really interesting. Every prospect that we talk to, not everyone, but so many people I talk to, they say, what we were doing was kicking butt a few years ago. And it's just not cutting it anymore. the look of our site, the functionality, the way that we service and sell. We hear this all the time. Yeah.
So with all this disruption, with all this disruption, what the point here is, people in businesses, marketers, when their inbound marketing programs are not succeeding, one of the biggest reasons is they don't really understand how people buy. They don't understand the things that they do outside their brand, outside their website, that really influence their buying decisions, like the things we just talked about now.
Yep.
So the recommendation that we'd have for you, do this right away, no matter what. If you're not doing these things, you need to do it anyways. You gotta get out of the office. You gotta spend time with real customers, real people that are already buying or potentially might buy, and get to know them and know the tools that they're using, know what they're into, because that's going to really make a big difference. A lot of great questions, probing into, have they used Uber? Have they used, what would they like to see, and understand where their mind's at. It's important to document these themes. We talk about personas all the time, but people get personas wrong all the time. People think persona is just this like fictional profile of somebody with their job title, blah, blah, blah. They treat it more like a demographic of, this is the type of person that would buy from us. That's not a persona. Persona is really a tool that's used to understand all the stuff we're talking about right now. Understand how they think, how they buy, so we can align our teams around, this is what we need to be working towards.
Yeah. And I've seen models where teams will map out their entire sales process. They'll map out that persona's buying journey as it relates to their sales process. They'll say, what is that person's concern and motivation at this stage of their journey to buy, in this process of buying? And then what tools or processes do we have? Can we make? Could we improve to help motivate them there? That, I think, is what you're getting at. That's understanding somebody. As it relates to your business and how they buy.
That's right. And of course, understanding the questions they ask, and the questions they ask today might be different than the questions they asked last year, which would be different than the questions they're going to ask next year. And on top of that, it's revise all this often, because your persona says one thing, it might say something completely different a year from now, because your buyers are changing.
And folks, we deal with this every day. I mean, I want you to know, I've had conversations with Bob saying, I'm struggling with this particular new area of demand our consumers have around designing graphics or something along with the new templates for the website. And Bob challenged me. He said, why don't you come up with, let us know what those questions are that people are asking, that we're not yet ready to provide the tool, the answer, the straightforward question. And that's been a very recent assignment for me, is understand, Nick, what are they asking and how are we not answering? Let's get down to that.
So number one, you don't understand how your buyers buy. You really don't understand your buyers in general.
And how to properly sell to them in that frame.
Number two, you're not matching your content to your buyers' desires. I was trying to find what that right word was, and I think desires is really the right word. So there's a couple of different things here. One is, if you think of inbound, people typically are searching. That's a big thing, that people are looking for something. You want to get found when they're looking. That's the whole theme of inbound, right? But we screw that up all the time. This is a very basic tactical thing, but it's the theme that we screw up all the time, is we're not understanding when someone types a keyword into Google, what the intention is behind that. What are they hoping to find? As marketers, we often miss that part. That way, if done properly, the keyword matches up with the search results, and the user says, that search result seems to be the one that best matches what I'm looking for. And again, if it continues done properly, when they click on it and they get whatever comes up, videos, articles, pictures, whatever it is, they say, haha, that's it. That nailed it for me. And they had a really positive experience all the way through that.
Yeah, it's almost like solve the problem that you want to get found for. So many people are just like, I want to get found for that keyword or get found by these people. But if you don't solve that problem, you don't meet that buyer's desire, it might even be worse.
And what we tend to do, and we do wrong, is we start, okay, there's a keyword. We know that there's a lot of people searching for this keyword, so we want to rank for this. So let's write an article or create a piece of content be a video, whatever it is, using that keyword in the title. And we do that, and we create the title, and we then write any content we can around that keyword and that title. And that's the wrong way of thinking about it, because this is what happens. In practice, the keyword might be general contractors. Okay, not a big deal. Then we say, well, how are we gonna mix that into the title? 10 things all general contractors need to know. And then we have an article that delivers on that promise. Here's 10 things general contractors need to know if you're a general contractor.
It's got a good chance of ranking. There's a lot of people searching for it.
You would think, because we're optimized for a keyword.
Yeah.
But what happens when someone's searching for general contractors, we don't think about what they're actually looking for.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually looking for a list of general contractors so they can evaluate, compare, and decide which one maybe I might want to evaluate further.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're hoping to find is a list of contractors and search results.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the best contractors, the ones most local to me or something, so I can end on a result like that.
Mm-hmm.
We get that wrong all the time. That's an extreme example, but that's where we really get inbound marketing wrong, is we think so much about the keyword and we don't think about what the user actually is looking for.
It's a subtle point, but you could subtly be failing and not realizing it, because you're thinking, wow, look, I'm getting found for this keyword, which means I probably optimized this correctly and people want it. But what you're not realizing what's happening is they search, they find your article, maybe it's even towards the top, they click on it, and instead of getting their problem solved and going on to go check their email and get on with their lives, they go click back and say, that's not what I wanted, and they pick the next result. Google, as I understand it, is watching that and going, oh, so that wasn't a good result because you're still clicking around and searching. That's bad news for you. That's showing that you're not actually a good answer for that.
And as we talked about this, Nick and I were reviewing this together today. He said, Bob, this is kind of like just putting ourselves in the user's shoes.
Yeah.
Through all this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go to the rest of this point that I really want to make. I'm going to give another shout out to our friends at Sales Line, Marcus Sheridan specifically for this next point. Think about your own behavior when you're searching for something. How often are you researching a product or a service or something that you might make a big investment in, and the things that you care about? You might search for pricing. You might search for problems with it.
What's the catch?
I sometimes type
pros
in
and cons.
Something sounds so good, I usually take the name of it, I type it in, and I write scam after it, right? To see, is there people complaining that's a scam?
Or even at least everybody would, or even more people could say they search for that and reviews or something like that.
That's right. That's the next one. Reviews and ratings.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for comparisons. Like we just gave you an example, like some types of general contractors, they want to be able to compare a list of them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they want to see like the best or the top, things like that. This is what Marcus Sheridan calls the Big Five. It comes out of the book that came in after he released the Big Five, which is You Ask the Answer.
Yeah.
Or You Ask the Answer.
Yeah. Big five content topics to focus on.
So again, you're not matching your content to the buyer's desires. That's this whole thing that you're probably getting wrong. If you're not willing to take those risks to write about your competitors, to write about what kind of investments we need to make to get that product or service or whatever it is, you're not talking about these things, someone else might be, and that's what the users are looking for. They're going to keep searching until they find it. And wouldn't you want them to find it on your website?
Yeah. And the last point I'll add to this is it's important that you write about that type of content that will meet your buyer's desires, but also look at the user experience and the navigation and the hierarchy of your calls to action on your own website. Because you could even write about that, but your buyer may not have the ability to identify to you and on your website via your navigation or certain buttons that, hey, I'm at this stage of my journey. I'm still at the awareness stage. I'm still educating myself. I desire helpful educational articles. Is there a button that they can quickly see and go there for that? Or I'm in the shopping stage. I'm trying to compare you guys against an alternative. Or I'm in the buying stage. You're on my short list, but I want to learn more about your team or case studies and stuff like that. If you don't have the content easily organized that the consumer can kind of let themselves around and find that right content, you're still not going to get there. So that's another key piece too.
Number 3 on the list.
Yep.
Your content's crap. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It's just shit, right? It's not that hard to tell. You guys have all had experiences.
You're not proud of it. They're not proud of it. Yeah.
And when we're talking about content, we're talking about it's your emails, it's your ebooks, it's your videos, it's your blog articles, which is usually the biggest culprit of it. it's your website pages, it's whatever it is, it's optimized for keywords, or, we did it quickly, or whatever it was, right? It's just crap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest culprit. One of the biggest culprits, in my opinion.
People think that they can outsource style, or that, style is optional, or it's editorial. And the fact of the matter is people just don't want to read crap. They don't want to read just some blurted out, written by a third party who's not passionate about your industry type stuff.
Yeah.
And I think you're not being honest enough with yourself and asking the key people who matter in your organization, such as your best clients or customers, your best business contacts and most influential people out there in the industry that you look up to, and your favorite team members and employees who are behind you in your content marketing effort. You got to ask these people quite honestly, like, don't BS me here.
Yeah.
Did that help? Did that help you today? Could you take action on that? Be painfully honest with me, because if it didn't, I need to know what you would like to see more of, so I can give you that. Just ask.
So what do we mean by this? Like, what do I mean by your content is crap? And let's put yourselves in the shoes of the buyers again.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is really effective. You've all had that experience where you've searched for something, you landed on something, you skim through it, and you're like, this is garbage.
Yeah.
This doesn't help me at all. And you hit the back button, you go to the next result.
Yeah.
You might say something like, I'll never get that time back. Like, you might watch a video with a big promise, and then the whole thing is just a bunch of fluff. And you're waiting for that promise to come, and it never really does. And you're like, what a waste of time. Stephanie, I'm not talking about the quality of the video. I'm talking about the context of the video, the real truth of the video, the things that really matter, the education that did it, fulfill that promise. I don't care if the lighting is bad. I don't care if the blog design is not the nicest. As long as like what comes across is strong and it fulfills that promise. And that is that's where a lot of people get that wrong.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about are people a fan of your content? Are they a fan of your email? Like, could somebody close out your email and be like, I was a fan of that.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to kind of be able to pass that first litmus test. Would you want to receive another email from this person? Would you want to read another blog article?
A couple other things that you commonly would hear is, things like it's copycat content. Like, it's just taking something else that you've read on another blog and you just like basically just curated it, but made yourself the author of it. Like, that's a waste. That's not going to do anything for your brand. There's no thought leadership to it. The writer is clearly not part of that subject matter expertise. Like, they're not using the right language, the right words. People will pick up on that, the right tone, the right industry stuff. So that's another one. And here's the worst part: when it looks like the writer just, I'm just going to say it, looks like they don't know English, right? Like, either you outsource to somebody really cheap to do something, or they just don't have the grammar skills. And again, I say English because that's what we speak. It could be any language that it's meant for that audience, but it's just,
or not localized for that, not British English versus American English.
Yeah.
Those things stand out.
If your content is crap, then it's not going to be effective at all. And that's the hardest part. People use these writer services, and some of them are good and some of them are really bad. And what you get back from them, and you think you're doing inbound marketing, you're not. You're creating blog articles for the sake of creating blog articles, but you're not inbound marketing because it's not actually affecting your business.
Yeah. It's not going to come up in conversations with prospects. It's not going to come up with conversations around the water cooler. It's a sign of failure. If you're not hearing from prospects that they read an article or they heard your podcast or whatever, and if your sales reps are not using what you're writing or creating or whatever in follow-up emails, it's not being passed around in Slack or the chat threads, you're failing in this area. You got to really reevaluate.
I think we have a problem now. I think Ramona is paying Stephanie off because Stephanie just said, I'm always a fan of Ramona's emails. Yeah. So I think there's something shady going on there.
Kind of a fan of her emails too, though. I can't.
No, I am too.
I feel like
I am too. All right. 2 more tips, or 2 more reasons why your marketing might be failing. Your inbound marketing might be failing.
If you can handle it.
I think the most effective inbound marketing is human. One of the biggest contributors to being successful with inbound marketing is being able to educate and build trust, build relationships using digital channels. And way too many people hide behind their logo or hide behind their company name. And they've got these faceless, boring websites that there's content there, but I have no idea who wrote it.
Mhm.
And I can't build a relationship with the company because I don't even know any of the people in the company. There's no one on the team page. There's no links out to social profiles of real people that are part of that company. There's no face of the person that wrote the article where I can go and dig further about them if I really enjoyed it, or if I have questions, who am I talking to? Am I just talking to the logo of the company, or am I talking to somebody there? That is one of the biggest mistakes I think companies make.
Yep.
Business is human. People want to build these relationships. Once you have them on that site, don't just be like hiding behind a like hi, I'm Nick. I'm here to help you. Like, and be able to go further from there.
People love an underdog. People love folks who will try and lead and take risks. It's what we've been talking about this entire show. I think that's why people enjoy coming on to our live broadcast, and they're so supportive here because we're trying. We're human, you know. And I think, Bob, that's why your story and the story of impact and the struggles and stuff that you've been very upfront about impact coming through resonates with so many people. It builds trust because nobody starts a business without making a bunch of mistakes. HubSpot, anybody, you know. And some of the biggest press wins that we've had, getting written up in Inc. magazine, was about failure and making mistakes. One thing that really made me feel like I could work for this guy and I could work at this team was you telling me, you know, hey, dude, we're not perfect. We made some mistakes. You know, but we learn from them and we're getting better all the time.
We make a lot of mistakes.
Well, don't we all? But I mean, it's how you react to them. Another quick note is I've lost deals that I felt I did a great job technically on, process-wise. I've represented impact as a leader, you know, and as a larger organization among our peers. And I've lost deals to folks who said this other firm, which was smaller, whatever, was better culture fit. I've lost to the answer of culture fit. And hey, it just means that I wasn't the right match for them, but it's important to be human because people are choosing sometimes based on the human. They are all the time. It's the culture. The people is one of the number one choices.
So recommendations on being more human. The most basic thing you could do is put some faces on your website, wherever you can put faces. Real employees on the homepage, have a team page, link off the social profiles, put all your articles should be by a human, not by the company with a logo. So put the human's face there, whether it's the principal of the company or somebody on the marketing team or somebody in services or sales, whoever it is, put them on the site, have a bio about them at the end of their articles, know who actually wrote the article. When there's comments, make sure that person's writing back, start a human engagement. Like that's like the most basic stuff that you can be doing.
Tell the truth, be transparent. If they don't do those things, Bob, people are you've been there. We all know ourselves. You're going to go, why? Why didn't they mention the members of the team? Why aren't they going into all this? I wouldn't have even thought about it, but now you hid it from me and I'm wondering why. And when people do that, they assume the worst. Just tell them the truth.
That's right. Now let's go what's your next step? What's intermediate? That's simple. That's basic. What's intermediate, right? And I would say stuff like we're doing right now. Oh, yeah. This is not that hard, folks. Yes, we make the designs and the graphics look pretty good, but they're not as needed. That's a nice to have, right, Stephanie? That's a nice to have, not a need to have. So crack out the videos, go get it, have somebody do like the sales line, do a training for you on how to look good in front of a video. We're not the best at, but we're here doing it. We have things to say and we're just going to say it. We talk a lot, right? But people are actually able to understand what Bob Ruffolo is all about. They're able to understand what Nick Sal is all about. And when people call in here and say, we're going to set up an appointment with you and Nick, they know Nick from the video content.
That's right.
Video is part of it. I would say, communities would be another thing. How can we then, have more social interaction?
I love that.
And I think that's also kind of like that second tier.
How can we make the humans who buy our product or service more about the star of our entire show? Make them the star of why our company even exists. And can we exude that across the whole site? Yeah. That's a way to humanize it. Big time. Forget your own team.
Yes. Yeah. Real people talking to real people in our community. It could be a Facebook group. It could be in Slack. It could be a LinkedIn group. It could be any of those. Go back last episode, I think. That's where we talked about it. That's awesome. Then if you want to go one more, if you want to even go like the most difficult stuff, but the most advanced, I wouldn't say hardest, but I would say most advanced, get out of your office and get face-to-face with the customers. We're talking things like find speaking opportunities. I still find that inbound. Even though it's not a digital channel, it's still inbound marketing when you're speaking because people are going to a conference. They're attracted to the conference.
Just like they go to the search engines or the blog or whatever.
Yeah, you want to play the digital side? I'll play the other side of it.
Yeah.
All right. So they go to the conference just like they go to
the search engine.
And they find a a talk or a breakout or something, which
Find a great blog or some writer.
that's right. And then they hear the content and it really resonates with them.
They read it, they click through.
And then after the event, they say, I think I have this issue and you can help me.
They get in touch, they contact, and you follow up.
It's the same thing. It's still inbound marketing, even though it's not happening on a digital channel.
It's crazy.
And then you want to make you more human, go and do a live event, do a seminar, do something like Impact Live. You want to do something big, or we go back a couple episodes ago. We talked about doing events. It could be as small as a dinner. It could be as big as Inbound, the conference, right? So,
but this is about knowing if you're failing or not. If you haven't done a video and you have no plans to do the video for the next 12 months, you haven't done an event, no plans to do it in the next 12 months, like that's a sign that this is probably not going to work long term. Those are dark storm clouds on your inbound marketing horizon.
Yeah.
Just saying. And
the last one on the list is that we don't know how to close inbound deals. So this is a sales
This is
part,
the
guys.
worst when this happens, because it's so hard for marketers to finally marshal their own energy and the energy of their teams. They're generating the leads. Oh, but we forgot about this part. You're still going to get fired. You're still going to fail if you can't do this part.
That's right. We go back, I think one of our early episodes, we talked about turning inbound leads into sales, and people just don't get that right. They don't know the right.
They don't plan ahead for it.
They're not nurturing correctly,
and
they're
not aligned with sales to do the follow up. Sales has never worked leads like these before. They've never worked with lead intelligence before. They've never called somebody from the internet that they haven't either met or sourced themselves. I mean, there's behavior changes here. You can't just count on happening automatically.
Yeah. So if you do all your inbound marketing right, then you should be able to easily identify that these are the leads that really need to be worked, or people are raising their hands. And do you have the right sales team that can take advantage of all that? Is there a bandwidth issue? We only have one salesperson. He only works these leads and not all these other ones. Well, that's money you're wasting if you don't have a team that can support all the leads coming in. If you're trying to grow your business, if you have capacity for, obviously there's marketing and there's sales and then there's delivery, right, of the promise and whatever you're selling. And you need to be able to all the way through. If marketing gets bigger, sales gets bigger, and you can deliver more, that's good. But you need to be able to, if you're generating a lot of leads, and that was the point, and you're saying sales is saying, I'm not closing enough, there's something wrong there.
Yeah, and you're going to win or lose together. If that part of the machine is broken, everybody's going to be responsible for it.
Recommendations, if that's the problem, get somebody that really specializes in inbound sales. There are great coaches out there, great consultants out there that can help you with your sales enablement, or help you build your sales process, help you with your resource allocation. Maybe people are just in the wrong seats. Maybe you need somebody that's better at working the database. You need another person that's more of a closer, and you could separate the roles. There's things you can do. It could be a personnel issue.
It really could. It could be down to the people and their behaviors, and if they're not going to change or something like that. I'd also recommend, Bob, for those folks who are like, I can't afford a consultant, or that's a little bit further down the road, go take the inbound cert, folks. Go to that section where they talk about the power of marketing. I just redid it. It's really good. Found fundamental stuff. And then also these reps, if they're on board, get them to take the inbound sales cert. Let HubSpot Academy tell them what to do and hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Make sure they get certified on it.
If your sales reps aren't using what you're creating, you're failing. Yes.
I mean, that's another sign your content is crap too, by the way. You need to ask and find out, did you use any of the content that I talked about? When you called that contact, did you reference the thing that they had downloaded or the last page that they had visited and ask them if they had any questions about that? Or did you just jump right into our pitch?
That's right.
You're blowing it.
What do you say? Should we bring it home?
I think we should. I mean, what a great episode. And I'm glad folks stuck with us here a few minutes after the hour here. But
Inbound is coming up just a few weeks away. You're speaking, I'm speaking. We're both going to be there.
Yep,
we're doing throwdowns.
17 team members. If you want to catch up with your favorite impactor, chances are they'll be there.
impactbnd.com/inbound17. Next week, excited about this topic. We haven't talked about this yet. Marketing team, how to build your marketing team, the roles and the structure.
That's awesome.
So that will be on September already, bro. It's going to be September already, September 7th, 2017 at 1:00.
We're almost approaching Q4 of 2017, folks. It was just yesterday we were talking about that the iPhone came out. We've talked about this all through this whole podcast run we've been doing. Things are moving fast, getting faster every day.
So we'll see you next week, 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like what you heard today, give us a comment, give us a like. If you really like what you heard today, please go to iTunes, give us a review. Until next time.
And if you thought it was crap, let us know that too. Okay?
Yeah.
We want your feedback as well.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
We're big boys. We can
Yeah.
handle it.
Mhm.
Until next time, get out there and make it happen.